Okay, this has a whole bunch of different stuff in it. Not going to really worry about the multiple choice answers. I'm just going to solve this and then we'll look and see what we get at the bottom. Okay, write an equation in slope-intercept form. They give us a point and they give us the slope. So what I'm gonna start out by doing is I'm gonna write it in point-slope form. Okay, which is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Okay, if I start out by writing it like that and then convert it over, that's going to be the easiest way. So I'm going to say y minus, what is the y coordinate that they gave us? 5. Okay, slope -4 parentheses x minus, what is the x coordinate that they gave us? 8. Take note, in this original formula, point slope form, okay, the y1 gets replaced, the x1 gets replaced, and so does the slope. But this x right here doesn't change. That stays x. This y right here doesn't get replaced. It's y. Okay, and now I need to convert this over to slope-intercept form. So I'm going to first distribute this -4 to both parts. It's going to be -4 times x is -4x, and -4 times -8 is +32. And then the last thing that I need to do is I need to add 5 to both sides. And when I do that, I get y equals -4x plus 37. Okay? And if I look down here on the bottom, that is choice C. And it couldn't be D because that's not written in slope-intercept form, which is what they asked for. Okay? It couldn't be B, not written in slope-intercept form. But I wanted to do it first and then compare it rather than use the multiple choice to get us there, because we really want to be able to do this regardless of whether you have multiple choice or not. Okay? Okay. Write an equation in point slope form. Well, that's even easier than the last one because right away we're going to just sub in the values and we'll have it already done. Okay, point slope form looks like this. And so we say y minus, what's the y coordinate that they give us? 2. Equals m, the slope of -8, parentheses, x minus, and we're going to do minus -2. So I actually have to put brackets here. X minus -2, which simplifies to be y minus 2 equals -8 parentheses x. Subtracting a -2 is the same as adding 2. And that's what we get as our answer. So what do we see down on the bottom? We see that that is choice B. Y minus 2 equals -8 parentheses x plus 2. Okay, and you can see from all of the answers that they gave, the real trick is in keeping all of the signs correct. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line through these 2 points. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find what the slope is for this particular case. We need to say m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and let's just call these points 1, so that's x1, that's y1, and this one is x2 and y2. Okay, sorry, it's kind of smashed in there, but now when we fill in the values, we say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and we get, let's see, y2, 7, minus y1, -5, over x2, 9, minus x1, -4. Okay, and then simplifying out what we get, 7 minus -5 is 7 plus 5, it's 12. 9 minus -4 is the same as 9 plus 4, 13. So we've got a slope of 12 over 13. Okay, not the final answer, but we're doing good. It's a good start. Oops. Okay, now let's see. I want to write this in point slope form. So I'm going to say y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Now, if you remember in class, I said that it doesn't matter which point you use, you're going to, it's going to convert over into slope-intercept form, giving you the same equation no matter what. So I'm going to say y minus, I'm going to pick the one with positive numbers, x2 and y2. Okay, y minus 7 equals, slope is 12/13, x minus, and I used 7 for y, so I used 9 for x. Got to keep it from the same point. Okay? And of course now I say y minus 7 equals, I got to distribute this through 12/13 x and minus, what is 12 times 9? 12 times 9 is 108 over 13. Okay? Now I'm going to add 7 to both sides because I needed to read y equals. So when I say plus 7, well, I'm going to write 7 in a unique form, if you don't mind. Okay? Plus 7 is equal to, I want to add 13ths, right? I want to add 13ths. So instead of adding 7, I'm going to add 91 13ths. 7 times 13 is 91. Okay? So if I add that, that's essentially adding 7 to both sides. But that makes it a lot easier for me to add what we have over on this right-hand side here, adding these together, because we need to have common denominators to be able to add them. So we say then 12 over 13x. And so then really what I'm doing is I'm saying what's negative 108 plus 91. Negative 108 plus 91 works out to be 17. So negative 17 over 13. Okay. If you're not sure about how to add fractions or what's going on when you add fractions, you're going to have a hard time with a problem like this. Because you need to be confident in adding fractions. You need to know that you need a common denominator. You need to know that adding 7 here to undo this minus 7, adding 7 here and adding 91 13ths here, those are equivalent amounts. This is equal to 7. And why did I do it in this way? Because I need to have common denominators to be able to add them. So now that I wrote it in a form where 13 is the denominator, we now have 13 and 13 is the denominator, and we can keep that 13 and just do negative 108 plus 91. Okay? This is a bigger number, the negative number, so we're going to have a negative left over, and I can subtract them. 108 minus 91 is 17. And let's see what we've got as an answer then. We've got y equals 12/13 x minus 17/13. And is that an option? Is that one of the answers? 12/13 minus 17 x minus 17/13. Yeah, that's A. There you go. Let's do a couple more. Okay, what is an equation for the line that passes through these 2 points? Well, the first thing we need to do, you can see on the bottom here that they're keeping this in point slope form. And in fact, you can tell from the numbers that from the answers that they gave, that they used either 6 comma negative 9 or negative 6 comma 9 or something like that. That's this point. Okay, so we're going to write it using this point up here. First thing we need to do is find the slope though. So we say m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that is what minus what over what minus what. So let's mark the point. Okay, let's say that this is x1 and y1, this is x2 and y2, and so then y2, 1 minus y1, negative 9, over x2, 4, minus x1, 6. And when we simplify this out, we get 1 minus negative 9 is the same as 1 plus 9, that's 10, over 4 minus 6, negative 2, which simplifies out to be -5. We have a slope of -5. Okay? So if we're going to write that in point slope form, and remember, based on the numbers that they gave us for their answer, they used this point right here. Hopefully you can see that. If you can't see that, then you're in a little bit of trouble. Y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. And they say y then, y minus, what's the y coordinate? It is -9. M, the slope that we just found, is -5, parentheses, x minus, what's the x coordinate? The x coordinate was 6. And if we then simplify that, we get y plus 9 equals -5, parentheses, x minus 6. And which one is that? That is C. Okay. Don't worry about the fact that there's a parentheses around this part. It still reads the same thing. Okay. One more to go. I know this is a long video, but these are all ones where we're using 2 points or a point and a slope to write equations and convert it around. So they're all very related, and so hopefully you get value in seeing all of these together. One more. Okay, what is an equation in slope-intercept form of the given line? Well, we're going to just do what we did before, except in this case we're getting our points off of the graph instead of them just writing it out for us. So, but the points are 1, 4 and -1, 3. And so if we were to label them, we can call that x1 and y1, x2 and y2, like that. And let's just first find the slope. Let's say m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if we were to fill in those numbers, filling them in, we say y2, 3, minus y1, 4, x2, -1, x1, 1. And then simplifying out, we get the slope is equal to 3 minus 4 is -1 over 1 minus -1 is -2. And that actually simplifies to a slope of 1/2. The negative over negative cancels out. So that's the slope. And we will now put it into point slope form. We will say y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Or y minus, which point do we want to use? Y minus, I'll use the one with both positive numbers because it just makes it easier. We're not subtracting negatives. Y minus, and that's the first point over here, by the way, this point. Okay, so we've got then y minus the y coordinate of 4 equals m, 1/2, parentheses, x minus, what is the x coordinate? 1. Okay? And now what we need to do is we need to distribute this through, and then we're going to eventually add 4. So first distribute. Keep this left-hand side the same. 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. 1/2 times -1 is -1/2. And now what we're going to do is add 4 to both sides. And we've got y equals 1/2 x. And if you have -1/2 and then you add 4, you've now got positive 3.5. And you can call that the equation. You can call that good. Okay. It's in the form of y equals mx plus b, which is what slope-intercept form is. Okay. Hopefully you know what's going on here.